Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast, brought to you by DirecTV, 1-800-259-7646. Also brought to you by RVWheelator.com. If you're buying an RV or selling an RV, check out RVWheelator.com and the Dollar Shave Club. Here's John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Monday. Hey, baby, how you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Good. Hey, a new study finds that today's teenagers depend on instant messaging and texting to avoid uncomfortable face-to-face confrontations.
Yeah, well, so do I.
It says 43% of teenagers surveyed said they use texting to say things they wouldn't have the nerve to say in person. 22% said they use texts to ask people out on dates or accept them. 13% use a text to break up with somebody.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
That's not good. Hey, coming up here in a bit, we've got a guest. We're going to be visiting with Keith Code, and we're going to be talking about a drug-free world. That is on the way. Super excited about some fun things that are happening in the day today. A lot of special days, we'll tell you about that. And a lot of other fun stories to share. It's all on the way on the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. Get razors for $1 a month plus a few bucks shipping, so you can enjoy fresh razors every month for as little as $3. Learn more at dollarshaveclub.com/radio.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
It's Museum Advocacy Day today. It's also National Margarita Day. Ooh, I know someone's going to celebrate that. It's also Woolworth's Day. It's World Thinking Day. It is George Washington's birthday. And today is Tex Avery Day.
Okay.
So we got a lot of stuff to celebrate today. Again, that's all happening on this Monday, the 22nd day of February. Is that today? Yeah, it is.
Yes.
Wow. Cannot believe it. I thought for some reason that we were already a month or a week later than that. So this month is kind of confusing me. Anyway, get out there and celebrate one way or another and have some fun on this Monday.
This portion of the program is brought to you by RVWheelator.com. If you want to buy or sell an RV, go to RVWheelator.com. List your RV for free. Learn more at RVWheelator.com.
You know it's true because you heard it on the radio. A 5-year-old girl calls 911 to save someone she loves, her yo-yo.
Oh.
All the time we hear about stories of people calling 911 because, when that happens, that is awesome. But it's usually to save, a person. But the other day, there was an emergency call, and 5-year-old Emily Barg of Lombard, Illinois, she called and she said, I have an emergency. I broke my yo-yo.
Oh.
Fire engines rolled up to Emily's home. They found the only fire in the house was in the fireplace, where it belonged. Emily admitted to calling 911 because she was curious to see what would happen. Ooh,
oh,
that's not good. She baked chocolate chip cookies for the firefighters. She wrote them a note of apology and delivered both personally and a few hours later. She said, I am very, very sorry. And she wrote, I baked these cookies for you. I hope you like them. And I hope you can forgive me.
How sweet is that?
She never did get her yo-yo fixed, by the way. So
well, at least she knew what it was for. I mean, she knew if you have a problem, that's where you call. That's a good thing. Her parents taught her that much.
Yeah, but now the second step is let them know that you only call for a real emergency.
Yeah,
so I guess it's a cute story because she's 5. Here's when it's not so cute. When it's somebody that's like 35 and they're calling because, somebody got their order wrong at McDonald's or whatever. We had that story like 2 months ago, so that really happens. But anyway, this story is true because you heard it on the radio.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by the Keystone Treatment Center.
This is your brain, and this is your brain on drugs. We share silly stories here on the program, but addiction is no joke. If you or someone you know suffers with an addiction to drugs or alcohol, make today the day you seek help.
Call toll-free 844-204-1055.
That's a toll-free number. Again?
844-204-1055.
And this is your brain on drugs. A man is cited for drunk driving on a horse. Yeah.
Oh.
Been cited for public intoxication while riding a white horse during a snowstorm in northern Wyoming, and it was in Cody, Wyoming.
You can get a operating ticket while you're on a horse?
Police said they cited 28-year-old Benjamin Daniels of Cody, Wyoming, after they received a number of calls from motorists who were concerned that a man was creating a road hazard. He was riding a white horse on a street in conditions where you couldn't even see him until you were right on him. Officers noticed that Daniels was intoxicated after they had stopped to talk to him, and then they found out that's why he was going so slow, is because he didn't want to fall off. Daniels was detained and released the following day. A friend picked him up, and they also picked up the horse. So
I mean, I could see him getting like a ticket for causing problems on the road, but he's not like operating a motor vehicle of any kind. So how can he get a?
I don't know. He gets something.
Huh.
Moving violation on a white horse in a snowstorm. Coming up, we've got a lot of fun stuff to share. It's on the way.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Keystone Treatment Center. Addiction is no laughing matter. Call Keystone Treatment Center toll-free at 1-844-204-1055.
Get your moment of duh right now. And what is an acceptable gift to bring a loved one in prison? A woman in Romania got a judge to order her boyfriend to give her better gifts. The woman is serving 4 years in prison for theft. She says that he brings her gifts like photos of him and their friends at pubs or cookbooks that she can not only use, but they make her feel as though he's mocking her.
Oh, yeah,
and
I could see that.
It's making her prison time unbearable. So the judge ordered the boyfriend to agree with her on a list of acceptable things that he could bring when he visits her in jail.
Yeah, I could see that. That's just mean.
What is his problem? Guy's got a bit of an issue, I think. So it's kind of funny, but yeah, it's not very nice. All right, coming up, we've got your scoop of the day. That is on the way.
The Scoop of the Day is brought to you by Wells Blue Bunny. If you want delicious ice cream, be sure to look for the Blue Bunny. Sure to have your favorite flavors. Learn more at bluebunny.com.
Now, your scoop of the day. Experts at Johns Hopkins Medical School say the meters on treadmills that say how many calories you've burned could be off by as much as 15%. You know why?
Why?
Because they're calculated based on an average person's body type. So what does an average person look like? Well, most likely not like everybody that's on a treadmill. Hey, a woman in Manila gave birth on a sidewalk after she got caught in traffic by the Asian Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit that's taken the city's congestion to a whole new level. The woman got help with her sidewalk birth from a couple of police officers.
Jeez.
So that's kind of crazy. According to research, we just talked about that. Never mind. I was going to say that's the story we talked about. Only 54% of people who were proposed to on Valentine's Day are going to make it to the altar.
The other day.
So, yeah. Hey, page 6 of the New York Post reports that Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg has 16 bodyguards working at his home. Meanwhile, he's telling others that they shouldn't own guns.
I read that. That makes me so mad.
Kind of interesting right there.
You know what? The majority of the people that are saying you don't need guns
are
all surrounded by people with guns.
Yeah.
So, of course, they personally don't need one. They've got all sorts of people around them.
Yeah. Hey, major international study into the link between cell phone use and brain damage has provided inconclusive. People who are saying that if you use your cell phone, it'll give you brain damage. There's no proof whatsoever saying that's true. Emergency room, maybe it just feels that way because of some of the calls. I don't know. Emergency room visits for school-age athletes with concussions has skyrocketed in the last few years, suggesting the intensity of kids' sports has increased along with awareness of head injuries. So they're saying that, the sport's gotten rougher, but now they actually get some sort of treatment for it, too. Before, they'd have a concussion, they just wouldn't get it fixed. You ever have a concussion?
I don't think so.
I don't think I have either. If I have, I never got it fixed. That probably explains a lot, doesn't it? Half of Americans drink a soda or sugary beverage, at least one every day. Some are downing a lot more than that. 1 in 20 people drink the equivalent of more than 4 cans of soda every day, even though health officials say sweetened beverages should be limited to less than half a can per day. Sweetened drinks have been linked in the U.S. to the explosion in obesity and related medical problems. Health officials have been urging people to cut back for years. Some officials have proposed an extra soda tax, and many schools have stopped selling soda or artificial juices. So they're saying, hey, you know what we need to do? We need to tax that stuff. I think they refer to that as the fat tax, and I would be overtaxed because I'm overweight. Hey, a recent report is touching on the benefits of coffee. They're saying that this is a good thing. Coffee is really, really good. According to an up-to-date meta-analysis, hope I said that right, they say coffee consumption reduces risks of most of the common types of liver cancer by about 40%. Further data indicates that 3 cups of coffee per day reduces liver cancer by more than 50%. So saying if you like a cup of joe, maybe have a couple more, because that stuff is pretty darn good for you, according to that. You ready for a strange law, Heidi?
Absolutely.
By law, the Arkansas River can rise no higher than to the main bridge in Little Rock, Arkansas.
Well, how are they going to stop that from happening?
I don't know.
That's ridiculous.
So I'm going to read that again. By law, the Arkansas River can rise no higher than to the Main Street Bridge in Little Rock, Arkansas.
Yeah, there's no way of making sure that law is not broken.
They would like put sandbags up? I'm not sure what they would do. Or arrest the river? I doubt it. That is a strange law, and this has been your Scoop of the Day.
This portion of the program is brought to you by RoughToughKennels.com. Dog kennels and accessories sent to your front door wherever you live. Your dog deserves it. Learn more at RoughToughKennels.com.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Monday. We've got a special guest joining us today talking about a topic that really matters a lot to me. We've got Keith Code. He's the founder of the California Superbike School. Now, we're not going to be talking about bikes today, although that's fun too. We're going to be talking about racing toward a drug-free world. And the reason that we're doing that, Keith, in addition to being a really cool, awesome dude on a motorcycle, he knows his way around those things, he's also an international ambassador for the Foundation for a Drug-Free World. Keith, how are you doing today, sir?
Very well, and thanks for having me on the show, John.
Well, we're excited to have you on here. We'll have to chat sometime about motorcycles, too. But right now we're talking about the Foundation for a Drug-Free World, and you guys are giving out some free booklets, some things called The Truth About Drugs. Tell me a little bit about the booklet, first of all.
Yeah, there are actually 14 booklets, but the basic one is called The Truth About Drugs, and it's a really great icebreaker, or something that especially parents who don't want to approach the subject with their teens. It's shown in all over the world where we have distributed these booklets. We've distributed nearly 60 million of them, and it has been fantastically useful. Again, especially for parents who are really at risk that their child's going to take drugs. We know in America that 50% of all of our high school kids are going to try drugs before they get out of high school.
So you've had like 30 years in the motorcycle industry, and you recently became an ambassador for the Foundation for a Drug-Free World. How did you get involved with them?
Well, I had a little bit of a drug history myself, John.
Okay.
And it really took me away from the things that I loved and the things that were my passion, and that was motorcycle riding and racing. And once I was able to get out of the drugs and back into racing and have an actual career here in America racing superbikes, I wanted to see if I could head the whole problem off at the pass. And that was back in the 70s, and I had been looking for several decades really for good, solid information on drugs, and not just hey guys, don't do it anymore. It's not good for you. It's gonna wind up in tears. And I found the Foundation's material, and it's just so clean, so straightforward, so full of information that I got connected with them, and they said, do you want to spread the word? And I said, yes, I do.
That's awesome. Now, when you think about drugs, that is one of those things that, a lot of the time it may be a problem that you don't know about, because it's not like alcohol where that's legal. You can go legally buy it. You can leave that sitting out on the counter. People can see that. If you're underage, of course, that's not legal. But drugs, no matter what age, they're always illegal. And this foundation has done some surveys just to find out just how prevalent the drug problem is in our schools. How bad is it, and what are some of the things kids are using these days?
Yeah, that's it. That our surveys, extensive surveys in America, did show that all parents have a 50-50 chance with each of their children that they're going to take drugs, because a little over 50% have already tried drugs, and it's continuing on in that fashion. Now, what's going on in America right now is instead of the gateway drug being marijuana, which it still is, it's turned over into prescription drugs. And this is one of the great fallacies in the world, that prescription drugs are not as dangerous as street drugs, but statistics tell us otherwise. So we're really concerned about that. The prescription drug, it's actually the scourge of our society right now.
And if it's not your name on that prescription drug, you shouldn't be taking it under any circumstances.
People don't realize that there were about 40,000 fatal drug overdoses from prescription drugs last year in America.
Wow.
Yeah. Think about that. 40,000. It was as many or more, about the same number as the number of people who died in automobile accidents.
Yeah.
And so when we say it's an epidemic, it's a very dangerous epidemic.
Well, and the crazy thing is, you're saying 50% of kids will be, experimenting with drugs. So as a parent myself with 2 kids, the odds are one of my kids will do it because, 50%, that'd be half of them, right?
Yep. Playing black or the red at the roulette wheel in Las Vegas is basically the way it is right now.
If you're a parent and you want to be able to speak more effectively with your children about this subject, it's one of those things where it's hard to talk about, but the Foundation for a Drug-Free America has a booklet called The Truth About Drugs. And what is it that we're going to find if we reach out and get one of these booklets? How's it going to help us talk to our kids?
Well, the beauty of the materials of the Truth About Drugs booklets is that it's just straight information. There are no scare tactics in it. There's nothing for sale. There's no other agenda aside from giving information. And if you look at it with a clear and unbiased opinion, you see that education is our only way out. Once we can educate young people, they can then make a decent choice because there's so much information out there, so much of a mixed message in our society about if you're having a bad day, just see your doctor and get this drug. It'll really sort you out. So we're advertising it on television, in our school systems. If you have a kid who's wiggling his feet too much and looking around the room, he's prescribed Ritalin. Ritalin is a dangerous drug. In fact, it's classified by the FDA in the same classification as morphine and cocaine. So, and there are millions of prescriptions out there for Ritalin as an example of a prescription drug.
So if there are families listening who maybe need an experienced professional, need some assistance to help a child get off drugs, or if they even have a concern, there's a program called Narconon, and the Foundation for a Drug-Free World has a relationship with them. Tell us a little bit about Narconon and what that is.
Narconon is the most effective drug rehab program in the world, and one of the things that has made it so successful is there's very, very well documented scientific information that most drugs are fat soluble, and what happens is when we take the drug, for example, marijuana, the active ingredient is THC, tetrahydrocannabinol. That's the thing that gives you the buzz. Now, it clears the bloodstream within 30 days, but the drug residues from that and many other drugs can and do stay in the body for many months, and in some cases years afterwards, which makes it extremely difficult to kick the drugs. So one of the primary reasons that the Narconon program has been so successful is they have a way of flushing out those drug residues so that the person actually has a clean slate and they're not being constantly pestered by, a tiny little taste of that drug even months after they stop taking it.
That's awesome. Now, if I'd like to know more about that, or if I'd like to maybe even get a copy of the free booklet, The Truth About Drugs, how do I go about getting that, Keith?
Yeah, the best way to do it is to get onto our website, which is drugfreeworld.org, and all the booklets are available. Everything is free. We have full education kits. There are DVDs. There are 30-second and 1-minute PSAs on there with real-life stories about people who started taking drugs and the false information that they were led into the drugs by. And if somebody is too nervous to log on to the drugfreeworld.org, they can call our toll-free number, which is 888-NO-TO-DRUGS, and we'll send them out the free booklets.
Awesome. Keith, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today.
Thanks for having me on, John. I appreciate it.
Definitely. Again, we've been visiting with Keith Code. He's an international ambassador for the Foundation for a Drug-Free World. You can learn more on their website, drugfreeworld.org. Thank you for listening to The John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by carsforsale.com. If you're in the market to buy a car, truck, or van, find thousands of vehicles to choose from at carsforsale.com.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
40% of all people who snoop, or 40% of all people at your party will snoop in your medicine cabinet. Did you know that?
Huh.
40% of all people snoop in your medicine cabinet.
I can honestly say I've never snooped in anybody's medicine cabinet.
I haven't either, so I'm in the 60%. I don't care what you have in there. Hey, fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Being unmarried has been reported to shorten a man's life by 10 years. Now, I know some single men that say, but you know what? It's going to be a great 10 years. No, they say by being married, you'll actually live 10 years longer. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Every U.S. bill, regardless of denomination, costs the same amount to make, and it's 4 cents. So whether they're making a dollar bill...
Why would you think it wouldn't cost the same amount?
They're just saying every bill costs 4 cents, no matter if it's a 1, a 5, a 10, a 50,
that
20.
makes sense to me.
There you go. And fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Fires on land generally move faster uphill than they do downhill.
Really?
Yeah,
I did not know that.
They got, I don't know, something working with them there. That's going to do it for your fun facts. Thanks
for
listening.
More oxygen as you go up?
Maybe
or less? No, you get less oxygen as you go higher.
That's probably because, as it's going up, it's burning, the flames are going up, it's going to catch faster than going downhill, I think. I don't know. Coming up, we get the secret to a happy marriage. We're going to chat about that in a bit.
This portion of the program is brought to you by StoneGroupArchitects.com. It's more than a building. It's design and function working together. Check out the project portfolio at StoneGroupArchitects.com.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Monday. I've got the secret to a happy marriage, part 1, Heidi. You ready for this?
I'm ready.
An Iowa man has discovered a novel approach to achieving the wedded bliss. He says, kidnap your wife and force her to sign a zany contract of wifely expectations.
Whoa.
Yeah. One particular line from his contract says, you will shave every third day.
What?
The guy went to jail for this. He actually got thrown in jail. Because,
I would hope so.
Yeah. In all seriousness, there was a guy in Iowa who kidnapped his wife.
Wow.
Forced her to sign some contract, and he called it his contract of wifely expectations. The contract that she signed, apparently she is probably not going to have to uphold it because he got to go to jail over this. So
yeah, I would hope so.
Bad idea. Really, really, really bad idea. And I don't know. What do you think? Do we need a contract of some kind?
I certainly would not recommend that you try something like that.
I shall not upset Heidi before we go on the radio. Otherwise, it's not going to be a pretty sight. I think that's pretty much the only contract I need signed. All right, coming up, we got some more fun stuff to share. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. We are married, but we don't have a contract in place. So does that mean that we're unsigned?
No.
I don't know what that means exactly. No contract. We're just here because we love each other. Stick around. More fun stuff on the way.
This portion of the program is brought to you by DirecTV, 1-800-259-7646. Also brought to you by RVWheelator.com. If you're buying an RV or selling an RV, check out RVWheelator.com and the Dollar Shave Club. Here's John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. Hey, Munich, Germany. I've never been to Munich, but that's kind of a fun name to say, Munich. A 63-year-old judge, identified only as Wolfgang W., was romantically interested in a 30-year-old girl. She was the defendant in a case that he was presiding over. So he's 63, she's 30, so 33 years difference.
Yikes.
The judge took the woman to dinner and sent her text messages professing his love. He also sent her a message saying he could lock her boyfriend up for a long time so that she should get some peace. So she could get some peace.
Oh, no.
She may be much younger, but she is smarter than the judge. She showed the messages to her boyfriend's lawyer, and now both judge and defendant may be going to jail. So, yeah, that's not
bad
good.
idea.
It's a bad idea. You don't do that kind of stuff.
No.
Coming up, we've got the brain drain. That's on the way. We'll tell you all about it in a bit.
This portion of the program is brought to you by GunUp.com. If you're a gun lover, you'll be in heaven at GunUp.com. Built by experienced military veterans, shooting sports competitors, and publishing professionals. They have awesome stories and articles that are read by millions of gun enthusiasts. Check it out at GunUp.com.
Planning on taking a long vacation this summer? Don't do it. It could make you stupid. According to a German psychologist, says summer vacations are terrible for your IQ. They say 3 weeks of doing nothing, laying on the beach, whatever it is that you're doing.
3 weeks? Who gets to take a 3-week vacation?
This is Germany. But they're saying that this could shrink your IQ by 20 points. 20 points might not sound like a lot, but it's roughly the difference between a college graduate and somebody who ain't never gone to no college before. So they're saying that's quite a bit. So if you're planning on doing some sort of traveling and you don't want your IQ to shrink, you should continue to listen to this program because we'll shrink your IQ even if you're not on vacation. Now, we try to keep people informed on what's going on. Coming up in a bit, we're going to talk about marrying well-educated women and what that can do for your chances of living longer. It's on the way.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. You can get razors sent to your door each month for just $1 plus a couple of bucks shipping. It's an amazing deal. Log on to dollarshaveclub.com/radio to learn more. That's dollarshaveclub.com/radio. Now, back to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. Again, we're a married couple here, so I always like to find these married stories. Now, listen to this, Heidi.
All right.
Men who marry a well-educated woman boost their chances of living a long life. So that means I could die at any moment. I'm just kidding.
See, and you wonder why I'm in such a bad mood today. You've been treating me like this all day long.
Teasing. I was absolutely teasing. No, I'm going to live probably until I'm 197.
You want to
bet? Well, this is the story. The higher a woman's education, the better the chance both she and her partner will have a long life. This is according to research from the Swedish Institute for Social Research in Stockholm. Oddly, the level of a wife's education was a strong factor in lowering her husband's risk of dying over the next 10 years than the man's own level of education. So your education matters more than my education, is what they're saying. Both men and women with less education who made less money had a higher rate of death than those with more education and higher earnings. So education and earnings can mean that you live longer than people who are uneducated with low earnings. So I think we're both still in trouble. It has nothing to do about being smart. It has everything to do with about, the amount of education and all.
I think that's ridiculous because if you have a high education and low earnings, it's stress that kills people. So if you have a high education with no low earnings, you're stressed out about money, so you're still going to die early. It has nothing to do with their education. Well, it has more to do with the earnings, I think.
Well, they had the study. This is from the Swedish Institute for Social Research in Stockholm, also known as CISR.
All right.
I don't know. There's not really an acronym for them. Coming up, we got some good news to share. That's on the way.
This portion of the program is brought to you by DirecTV. Call 1-800-259-7646. They have hundreds of channels to choose from, with many packages to fit your viewing desires. Learn more at 1-800-259-7646.
We always try to wrap this program up with some good news, and today, of course, we've got some great news. This is really good news, and this has actually been out for a little while, but I got the details now. One of my favorite movies in the world is Back to the Future. And what car do you think of when you think of Back to the Future?
The DeLorean.
Yeah, and the DeLorean, a car immortalized by Back to the Future, was relegated to the pages of history 35 years ago when the original production came to a halt. Now, however, they're getting a second, albeit brief, chance to live. The DeLorean Motor Company of Humble, Texas, has been given a green light by the federal government to restart low-volume production of the car. According to the website that I got this from, the new DeLoreans are being produced using all of the new, old stock parts. Does that make sense? They're brand new.
Why
never
would they
been
need
used.
the government's permission to make the cars again? If they wanted to make the cars, make the cars.
Well, the DeLoreans are being produced using new, old stock parts, which means all the parts are from 35 years ago. The DeLorean company's CEO, Stephen Wynn, estimates they have enough parts to build about 300 DeLoreans.
I want one.
I think that would be really cool. I love DeLoreans. And I wonder if I would love them as much if they weren't featured in that movie.
Probably.
Do you think you would?
Yeah, I thought they were cool even before they were in the movie. I saw one.
Yeah, I know.
Prior to the movie, and they were really cool. They had the doors that open up.
Yeah,
you just never saw that
doors.
Before that. Yeah.
Yeah, there are other cars that have that, though. See,
but you didn't see that before that car.
Yeah, there were other cars that had it before
I had
that.
never seen it before, before I saw DeLorean.
So we're going to have to see if we can, we'll have to start saving our pennies and see if we can buy a DeLorean. I don't know how much they are. It doesn't say on here, but probably more than we can afford.
Probably more, yeah.
All right. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day. Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show. I'll share that story on our Facebook page, so if you want to see the photos and stuff, facebook.com/John and Heidi Show.
Time now for the bonus break, only available here on the John and Heidi Show podcast.
And your bonus break is brought to you by our good friends at Knowles Systems. And if you have funds earning less than 6%, you should use their system. Listen to this. Commercial mortgage bridge loans paying 6% to 8% might be just what you need. And the cool thing is you're placed in first position on loans secured by high-quality commercial real estate like hotels and apartments and office buildings. And it's a really cool program. You can get all of the details by calling them. I'm going to give you their phone number, 1-888-547-8007. Again, 888-547-8007. Or you can just go right to their website, commercialmortgagebridgeloans.com. A woman in Florida is giving new meaning to a citizen's arrest. Listen to this. Claudia Castillo of Miami chased down and pulled over a police officer.
Whoa.
She said he was driving recklessly on the road. She recorded the encounter that she had with the officer, who she said was speeding, and he wasn't using lights or sirens, so she pulled him over. When the officer finally pulls over and comes to her car in the video, she rolls down her window and gave him a lecture on safe driving. I've got that link on our Facebook page as well.
Well, we'll all have to check that out.
I can only imagine that that's not going to help her chances of, not getting pulled over in the near future.
Wow.
I think that's just kind of crazy. I've never heard of that before. Have you ever heard of that? Somebody
I have not.
Jumping out of their car and pulling over the cops? All right, let's talk about this month, February. Why is it we typically only have 28 days? This year we have 29. It's a leap year. But why do we only have 28 days? Do you know?
I have no idea.
January and February both date from about the time of Rome's founding. They were added to the calendar that had been divided into 10 months, like periods, whose lengths varied from 20 to 35 or more. A winter season was not included, so those period lengths are believed to have been intended to reflect growth stages of crops and cattle. When introduced, January was given 29 days and put at the beginning of the calendar year. February was given 23 days back then and put at the end. Then, for an undetermined period shortly after Rome's founding, months were said to have begun when a new moon was first sighted. Sometime later, a month lengthened. They were separated from lunations, and they became fixed. At the time, February's original length was extended by 5 days, which gave it a total of 28. So there are some people who say every month should have 28 days.
That was extremely confusing.
A lunar cycle.
I'll just say that's fascinating.
You gonna call me on that? You didn't know what the hell I was saying either?
No. I'm like, whatever. That's fine.
Lunar cycles are 28 days. And there are people who say we should have 13 months with 28 days instead of having 12 months with all these wacky amount. So
that's not the way it is. Deal with it.
Someday that just might happen. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Did we already do this? Feels like it. All right, your bonus break is brought to you by Knowles Systems, and if you'd like a system, check them out. CommercialMortgageBridgeLoans.com.